We did Budapest a long time ago, but I was hungry for more Hungary. So it's time for their second largest city. Here are the stadiums and arenas of Debrecen, Hungary. OLA Gabbor Utsai Stadium, also known as Loki Palya, opened at a time when the Hungarian football team were world beaters. OLA Gabbor Utsai was not one of the players from that era. The stadium's just named after this street here. As for who the street's named after, well, there's not that much information about him, some sort of public figure. Also, we're here for the stadiums, not the streets. Unfortunately, the Wide World of Streets channel never really caught on. Istanbul has some of the world's steepest streets. Take a look at this one here. Wow! I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, this is a low-key stadium with amenities that are a little bit Bush League, and stands that barely rise any higher than a two-story building, none of which have any sort of roof coverage. However, when you couple that with the heavily wooded surrounds, it makes for a serene setting to watch some football. You might be surprised to hear that this ground was home to the city's biggest football club for around 2 decades, right up until 2014. But they now play at a much larger, much more technologically advanced stadium. That stadium is known as Naga Day Stadium, which is also situated amongst the trees. This is actually a protected woodlands, but there's been a stadium on this site for a very long time. So they didn't just recently barge into the place and bulldoze a whole bunch of trees. This particular iteration was opened in 2014, as I alluded to. Interestingly, the walkways surrounding the stadium are elevated to the height of the tree canopies, so it's like you're walking amongst the treetops. Those walkways form a nice little loop that I'm sure a lot of people incorporate into their morning jog. Even within the seating bowl you can still see the trees, which I love. I know, I talk about trees way too often, but I do like to branch out beyond the stadium itself. Another design aspect that I appreciate is the asymmetry. You know, it's more than just a boring, symmetrical bowl. There's a bit of character. The partially translucent roof lets in plenty of light, so there are no dark and dingy areas of the interior. So yeah, what a lovely ground. Although Hungary does have an impressive purpose-built national football stadium in the capital, this ground does occasionally host friendly matches. Most recently in 2024 when Hungary played Israel. It does make sense that most Hungary games are played in Budapest though, as it's a fairly short train journey from basically everywhere else in the country. From the biggest stadium to the biggest arena, Fernx Arena to be specific. You won't be surprised to hear that Fernx means Phoenix, which suggests that this arena rose from the ashes or the rubble of its predecessor, like Naga Day Stadium did. Well, that is kinda true. It gained that name after an extensive redevelopment in 2021, rather than a complete rebuild. Being Hungary, the main sport that takes place here is not basketball or hockey, but handball, which if you don't know is like football but more hand-based. They really should have called it hand football. There actually isn't a permanent sporting tenant here, and it does have the capability to host basketball and ice hockey. It's just that hand football is by far the most common sport to take place here. The women's national team in particular like to play here. This does seem like a nice and compact arena, with steeply stacked triple-tiered seating in some sections, which is certainly a rarity at an arena that can hold just 6,500 spectators. It's sure to make the crowd seem larger than it actually is. There are lots of honourable mentions on this one. Debrecen's swimming pool complex is a surprisingly large swimming arena, given that the city has a population of around 200,000. Water polo is also a very popular sport in Hungary. Gazvezetek Street Sports Complex is a speedway venue, a pretty basic one at that. This complex is not complex. Ishvan Gulai Athletic Stadium is the preeminent track and field venue in the city. It may have just the one proper stand, but it's an impressive one, seemingly inspired by traditional Hungarian architecture, which is some of my favourite architecture. Next to Fernx Arena is Hord Imre Rendezventjarnok, which is primarily used for handball yet again. There's no shortage of arenas in this city. OLA Gabbor Street Sports Hall. Handball may be the dominant indoor sport, but I believe it's basketball and badminton that are most common at this venue. It can sit around 1,500. So there you have it. I'm hungry for some goulash now. My favourite of the lot is, unsurprisingly, Naga Day Stadium. It's a beautiful ground inside and out. Now it's time for extra time. As you may know, the Rubik's Cube is a Hungarian invention, invented by Erno Rubik. With me today is Laszlo Farkas, the inventor of the lesser-known Farkas Cube.
Hello.
Laszlo, welcome to the channel. Tell us why you think your invention didn't catch on, whereas the Rubik's Cube was a worldwide success.
I think it is because I didn't have the right connections in the industry. As they say, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
So, what distinguishes the Farkas Cube from the Rubik's Cube? What are some of its features?
It's just cube.
What do you mean?
It's just cube. It was made to play cube games with. It's just cube.
Cube games? What are you talking about?
Well, for instance, you have pick up the cube. You have put the hat on the cube. That's very popular. Throw the cube at another cube. That's pretty fun. And there's polish the cube. There's so many cube games.
Wait, what do you mean? When you emailed me, you said that it was even better than the Rubik's Cube. You're telling me it's just a wooden cube?
It's just cube.
Okay, thanks Laszlo. That was very insightful.
It's just cube.
Yes, I know. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.